JC Penni podcast episode 2. Number dose. We're back with you after our fantastic week 1 episode where we nailed everything. Totally right all the time. And then for the first time ever, we're doing this live, like Bill O'Reilly. We are live streaming this entire thing. Got the Shiva in the background for you, so you can all look at what James left behind.
Feeling a little nervous, actually. It's like
right.
I feel like I've gotten a little used to the normal podcast now that it's live. I don't know.
Like every time we screw up, like we can edit it in post. We can go back. Like if I freeze and forget like half the podcast, like we can fix it.
We've only done that twice.
Now it's like, look, and I'm live on Twitch.
Got the notification live on Twitch.
So we know it's hopefully working.
Yeah, no one's watching yet. Well, hold on. Here, I'll put it on my phone so we have one
How do
here.
you know no one's watching?
I don't know.
No one's in the chat. If you're in the chat,
let us
comment in the chat so we know you're there. Don't be a lurker. Oh, are you watching us? Don't watch us.
No, calm down, bro.
All right, we're still beta testing this.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I want to make sure it looks okay on the stream before we.
Yeah, it makes sense. So, obviously, we're going to talk about the Week 1 recaps. We're going to go through Week 2 predictions, talk about what we were right about, what we were wrong about, and just generally kind of see where we stand, like the rapid reaction.
Yeah.
Week 1 is always so interesting because it's like you have these expectations going in the draft, everything goes sideways, and then it's like, do you jump ship? Do you It's too early to panic, right?
I mean, there are some, obviously, context matters. I think... There's not too much that I think people need to panic on. I think we're going to get into a couple of those things that... kind of wish I didn't drop Adrian Peterson going into week 1. I didn't expect him to get, 17 carries when he's been there for a week. That's fun.
Right. So let's go to the week 1 matchups. Week 1, my matchup was just fantastic. Beating Nick on his birthday, beating Daryl.
It's kind of a nice way to start the season when your opponent puts up 77 points.
So the worst performance of the week, and I don't want to spoil anything, but I have a concept in mind that I'm going to put into place at some point this year.
Okay.
I'm going to make a present, and I just can't decide if I want to make it for like the worst finisher this year or give it to McMillan because he's our Sacco. Because, I feel like McMillan didn't actually do the Waffle House punishment.
Yeah, I still think it's not too late to do that. We can go to a Waffle House. I don't think 10 of us can go at this point. But I will say, with the way the first week went, who knows? Maybe he'll just win it again, and you'll be able to do both.
I mean, it's just, I have a really good concept for a way to troll whoever finishes last.
Okay.
And I just want to... Anyway, we'll say that for later. So, yeah, I mean, week 1, my matchup with Daryl and Nick was...
So... Yeah, this was interesting because we can already start to talk a little bit about... If we want to just jump right into the David Johnson part of the podcast, we can do that. We can wait a minute.
No,
but when you look at the opening game of Kansas City versus Houston, Daryl and Nick couldn't have had a better start to the week. Clyde Edwards-Helaire puts up 19.8. David Johnson puts up 18.4. Couldn't have started better. And no one else on his team did shit.
Alex and McMillan will know this. I was shitting bricks at band practice because we were watching CEH and David Johnson just bury me. And David Johnson, I talked so much shit about that David Johnson pick. And so far, we're getting 1 week, small sample size, but so far, he may heed my words. Of course I talk shit about somebody and they blow up. Of course.
Yeah, obviously.
That's how it works.
I mean... Yeah, something I kind of mentioned earlier before we started into the podcast, but yeah, you had this idea that Lamar Miller is good at football, and
he was for a time.
Maybe back in 2016.
As David Johnson was.
David Johnson was a monster in 2016, though. He was out for a year. I mean, you said you'd rather have Lamar Miller last year, apparently. Well, Lamar Miller didn't play because he tore his ACL in week 1.
I meant 2 years ago, but even then...
But even 2 years ago, it wasn't close.
Right.
David Johnson was the better running back.
By 80 points, I think.
Yeah, it was a pretty significant gap. It wasn't anything small.
So that was the bad news on my end. The good news is, aside from their running back position, Daryl and Nick are in a world of hurt because Carson Wentz underperformed. They could have been okay with either Kyler or Cam at quarterback, but they really didn't have a lot in the tank in the wide receiver and tight end department, or at the flex even.
So as much as I will say that I got David Johnson right, as much as I'll say that, I will say that pretty much everywhere else on his team, I got everything wrong. I expected all of the Eagles players to just mollywop the Washington football team, and who expected them to come out and get a dub? Like, who expected them to like just handle the Eagles? Carson Wentz, 13 fantasy points.
Yeah,
I didn't see that coming. I don't think I could have been more high on any player other than Cooper Kupp during the first podcast, and
that blew up.
6 points. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't see how he didn't get more targets, and we'll get into Zach's team later, but Robert Woods just ate it up. I don't know. I'm a little frustrated. Nick Chubb, terrible week 1 game. I mean, I said at the time I did not like Cleveland players going into the Baltimore matchup.
Sure.
But obviously I didn't have enough faith in that because guess what? I benched the Baltimore defense and I started the Colts defense against the Jaguars. And it cost me, I think, 14 points. Well,
and as you saw, I just pulled up Nick Chubb. I'll pull it back up on the screen for a second. He had it, that terrible week 1, but on week 2, last night against Cincinnati.
They played with a lead. I mean, they were down, I think, 24 points at halftime to Baltimore.
Right.
It's just, obviously, they went away from the run really early. No, against Cincinnati, what was it, 22 carries? He had a great day.
So much of this is dictated by how, the game scripts and how a game is going. Because, you see the difference in Nick Chubb, and I talked a lot of shit about Nick Chubb, too, but Nick Chubb, in a game where they're trailing to Baltimore, they're trying to come from behind throwing the ball, he's not really involved. Last night, when they were playing against the Bengals, they're just running the ball down their throats because they're trying to hold on to that lead and kill clock. And granted, he almost
blew it.
Yeah.
It was a 35-30, I think, was the final.
It was.
I'm saying, I don't think that's a good look for Baker Mayfield that Joe Burrow's hanging with him with the talent disparity there.
But and
that's real football. Let's get away from that.
In week 1, aside from OBJ having a down day, I really kind of was okay across the board. Anthony Miller, I debated for the longest time, do I run Anthony Miller at the flex, or because I couldn't do Galladay. Galladay was injured, and so do I run Anthony Miller at the flex, or do I do Hayden Hurst? I'm so glad I went with Miller. I trusted my gut, and honestly, here's the crazy part. Out of week 1, injuries only really helped me.
So you remember how? I don't remember who you were trying to trade with, but you were trying to make a trade for Marlon Mack before the season started. So you had the 3-headed monster.
Right.
Good thing you didn't do it.
Oh,
Marlon Mack done for the year. I will say I think there might be a little bit of concern of the expectation is Jonathan
Taylor
is eventually going to be the guy.
He is the guy. No, they announced he's a starter.
Okay, but Hines
had a monster day.
Had a monster day, 23 points. Yeah. I wonder how you're feeling about Zach Ertz with Dallas Goedert going off for 24 points.
Well, I don't feel great, and here's why. I know Zach Ertz at the beginning of the season, they basically broke off contract negotiations between the Eagles and Ertz, and because they lowballed him, they gave him an offer that was worse than the initial offer they gave him.
Okay.
And so he said, "Sit and spin. I'm not taking that." And they haven't resumed contract talks. So I do think that's kind of a yellow flag. But Ertz was, he got around 10 points. And the thing is,
he did fine.
I think
he caught a touchdown pass.
Hayden Hurst and Gesicki are both serviceable backups. If I really if I have a red flag with him during the season, I'll ride whichever one I think has the better matchup. I'm not as worried about it because I already have depth at the position, generally speaking.
Yeah.
I will say that
drafted 4 tight ends.
3.
Close enough.
Devontae, it doesn't make it any better. Devontae Adams had a monster day, obviously.
Aaron Rodgers only wanted to throw to him, apparently.
And I hope that continues because, I could not take him at 14 overall. He falls to the mid-second round. That's great value. I had to snatch him, and I'm so glad I did. I honestly, and I remember, this 120 I put up is with Galladay, who is a wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2, injured.
Yeah. It's kind of a tough thing. How often are you starting Galladay in that spot? Obviously, Devontae Adams and Odell Beckham, you're set it and forget it wide receivers. Are you ever starting Kenny Galladay over either one of them?
Yeah.
You are?
I'd
be surprised if you have a lot of situations.
Well, the thing is, I have Devontae Adams, Odell Beckham, and Kenny Galladay are usually my 3 start wide receivers. Then Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor are my 2 running backs. But sometimes I might sneak Miller in there, depending on how hot he gets in a certain matchup. But yeah, and Tommy's even saying in the chat, he thinks Ertz will probably get tagged, the franchise tag at the end of the year.
It's probably.
So
it wouldn't surprise me. He's too talented not to keep him around. Like I said, I was a little surprised. Dallas Goedert was the only one. He's the one Eagle that had a good day.
Yeah.
Like well, Miles Sanders was hurt, so like that kind of affected me. I didn't get to start Miles Sanders this week.
And then wide receiver wise, they had nothing.
Like
Nelson Aguilar.
I don't think it. I mean, yeah, I don't. Is he even there?
Is he there? I saw the best meme I saw from like the weekend from week 1 games was, how are you what are you wearing to celebrate week 1 of the NFL coming back? Someone put on Twitter, I'm wearing a mask so like Nelson Aguilar I don't catch anything. So
obviously Devontae Adams, you're not expecting him to get 3 touchdown catches every single week, but which even if you take away, I mean obviously this is one of those situations you got 77 put up against you. He could have had an okay day, had 15 points, and you still win this matchup by 25 points.
Yeah, but it's a good start to the year. Moving on to McMillan Arsaco losing again.
The closest matchup of the week.
In a nail biter, yeah.
Relatively low scoring. I will say that. So I don't know if you saw the end of the Saints game.
No.
So on 4th and goal from like the 4-yard line, I had Will Lutz. I was like, yes, free 3 points. They win the game, easy. No, they decide to do a sweep with Alvin Kamara. And guess what happens? He scores a touchdown. Or so they thought. He reaches out, and when I saw it live, I was like, that was really close. I showed the replay, I'm like, he probably was out, but it's way too close for them to overturn it. They overturned it. Literally just by an inch, 6 points off the board for
That's
McMillan.
The game.
That's the game right there. At the time when it happened, I was actually out at a bar with Zach, and I was like, Brad's only projected to win this game by 3 right now. By 3. It's like, so maybe the 6 points won't make a difference. But if it does, like, you're talking about like an inch, if that, could be the difference in this matchup.
Between a win and a loss.
And guess what? James Conner goes out there, lays an egg.
Yeah.
Brad gets a dub.
It's so, and I think I had McMillan in my top 3 early on, in like the week 1 podcast. Aside from James Conner laying an egg and the Lions defense having a bad day, everything else was fine, right? Like his lineup, Terry McLaurin didn't have a great day. Darren Waller didn't have a great day. Boston Scott didn't have a great day.
He just had a lot of meh days out of
everybody. But I guess even with Mahomes, like you expect Mahomes maybe to do more than 20, but you're fine with it.
20 seems so low just because like I think it was like 8 quarterbacks win above 26.
Right.
It seems low. 20's fine.
But Kamara and Julio did what they're supposed to do. It was just but for a really bad day from James Conner, he probably wins this matchup against Brad, obviously. Who's got to be
James Conner gets hurt. I think it was like 5 touches in the game. Obviously 2.7 points. You're not expecting that out of what I think was his 3rd round pick.
Right. So I'm just saying I don't think it's time to like hit the panic button on McMillan's team, even though losing is something he's used to.
I'm not hitting a panic button. Obviously, I didn't have him in the top 3. I didn't have him in the bottom 3.
Right.
Like a close loss is what it is. If he was playing, your matchup, he gets a win this week by 20 points. Oh, so going back onto the concept of being wrong about things. So first matchup of it, you were right. You predicted yourself to win. You got the win. I predicted Daryl.
Oh, I didn't realize.
I have it. Yeah, no.
1-0, baby. Woo!
So then we get into this matchup, and now we're both 1-1 because I picked Brad to win and you picked McMillan. So yeah.
Why do I believe in you, McMillan? You're terrible.
I said I had faith in Brad. You're welcome, Brad.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Brad has got to be like thanking his lucky stars that he came out with the win here, especially given what you just said.
I mean, Joe Mixon had a really mediocre day. Drew Brees only 14 points.
Despite
the fact that they put up 34.
Aside from Nuke and Mostert, he really didn't put up much.
Yeah, no, I mean, so I hate to backtrack so far, but like you got to remember one of the big reasons that Daryl and Nick had such a bad day was they started the Minnesota defense that gave them -7.
Yeah.
That didn't help.
No.
Jumping back up into here, but like this was not a big week for defenses.
No.
Like I think Baltimore finished first with like 50. I think tied for first with like 15 points on the week. Like
I had a thought about this. So I know a lot of defensive performances can be benefited obviously by crowd noise, right? Like, that's the advantage of playing at home.
Yeah.
Like playing like a defense playing in a home stadium where the crowd's going to be loud, like especially in like Seattle or something like that. It's difficult to play in that environment. There are no crowds.
Yeah.
Or very few crowds. There's not that noise factor anymore.
Yeah, so like they are pumping in noise like pre-recorded things, but also what I heard today or what I heard on Sunday was like they were just fucking it up so bad. It was like, oh hey, look, you got a first down on a 3rd and 2, and it was like, oh my god, they just won the Super Bowl type of celebrations. Right. It's just like it's not consistent enough yet. Like maybe they need to figure out how to adequately do the sound. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like, well, and not only that, but it's like you could hear, like, I watched like some Miami Dolphins videos, obviously, like from on Facebook of like people mic'd up, and it's like you can just hear the ambient noise. It's just silent.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy to me. So I don't know if maybe that's affecting defense. Maybe that's helping, because I know there's also like you've seen like Phillip Rivers and certain quarterbacks like trying to do stuff at the line because they're trying to call like read defensive adjustments and things like that. I wonder if this is gonna be a more offensive year than we've seen previously.
It might be.
But kudos to Brad for the win in a nail biter.
Yeah.
Big hammer thrown down by Jer Bear against Jason Smith. How you feeling about Russell Wilson?
Number 1 fantasy quarterback. That's kind of exactly what I said. I was expecting out of him, despite getting him in the 7th. Now, I will say I think it's a little interesting. I have the top 2 quarterbacks because Aaron Rodgers also had himself a day.
He did. He did.
Part of the problem though is like that doesn't really mean much. Like, there's no trade value for quarterbacks.
No.
Like, I think there's like one person in the league that I might be able to work a trade out for a quarterback, and it's because
if they're each getting 30 points a game for like 5 weeks, you've got to trade.
Yeah, I got to try to do something if I can get anything.
But if they're just putting up like 20s again, like there's going to be a handful of quarterbacks that are going to put up 20 on any given Sunday.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, I think I was getting the win either way, but I got a lot of benefit from garbage time touchdowns. Both Calvin Ridley and Adam Thielen both scored touchdowns with less than 2 minutes left in the game when the game was already decided for both.
Gotta love that.
Like, no,
I'll take 12 for your points.
No, it was great. I loved it. I mean, I had high hopes for Adam Thielen and Calvin Ridley, but obviously, I mean, I'm not expecting 30 points every week, but even if they're in that 15-point range every week, I still get a win. I think I made some mistakes. Like, I should have started the Ravens defense. I didn't expect Jacksonville to do anything. They're my team. I didn't expect them to do anything. They go out and they beat Indianapolis.
Like, how about that? There were some surprising results in week 1 in terms of like just like Jacksonville winning,
Washington winning.
There were some surprising week 1 results. I will say, like, and the only like this is the same thing. The same criticism I had of your team, even though I think I even had you top 3 this year. But the only criticism I had of your team was I didn't trust your tight end situation. Gronk wasn't it. So he was on the field. I was right about something.
He was on the field a lot, but he stayed in to block. Like, I think he ended up with like 3 catches for 21, or was it not even 21 yards because he only had 2.1 points. It was either 2 or 3 catches.
2 catches for 11 yards.
Yeah, like he stayed in to block a lot. Cameron Brate was on the field a lot. O.J. Howard was on the field a lot. I think O.J. Howard is the one tight end that got a touchdown catch. Mm-hmm. I've mixed things up a little bit. David Njoku had a really good start, but he's now on the IR, and now he is currently in my IR spot on the bench.
Wow.
So he could be something when he comes back. And I think I picked up the Redskins tight end, Logan Thomas. Yeah, I picked him up this week. We'll see if he had a good week 1.
Worth a flyer. If you need a tight end,
exactly.
Come to your boy.
Yeah. Well, we can also talk about some trade things. I've had some conversations about trades for tight ends already, and
just don't offer me Myles Gaskin for Nyheim Hines. Window.
He's a backup running back.
Yeah, no, I'm aware of that. Idiot.
I mean, he was trolling you.
I want to believe that. I know you say that, and I want to believe it. I know you have the text. You have the receipts.
He was trolling.
Yeah. How about Jason Smith's lineup? Because
So he just had a lot of mediocre.
Well, hold on. And again, if he plays Daryl and Nick, if he plays Smith, if he plays Brad, if he plays McMillan, he wins.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was 5th or 6th in points scored. So
right.
He's like right in the middle of the pack.
I'm not saying he didn't deserve to lose this game.
No,
but
so Lamar Jackson again, 22. I think he's like quarterback 5 or 6 or 7. I don't know. That was the projection. He had 27.5. I'm pretty sure he is like still in the top 5 for quarterbacks.
Sure.
Aaron Jones, 15 points, kind of what you expect. Melvin Gordon, 14. Amari Cooper, 13. Evan Ingram was one that, again, I just didn't expect him to play so... I expected the Giants not to play great.
Right.
I didn't expect them to have this kind of a day.
Ingram were the 2 disappointing ones.
Yeah. Doesn't help him that he just lost Marlon Mack, too.
Right.
That's done.
But he does have... Alan Lazard had a great day off the bench, obviously.
But he also... Again, Mark Ingram. I was super big going into the first podcast of... He's the number 1 guy in a run-heavy offense. Is he the number 1 guy?
Probably. It didn't look like it.
Didn't look like it to me. Can we actually see how many carries he actually... how many touches did he have?
10.
So he had 10 carries. I don't think he caught any passes.
No receptions.
So 10 carries, 29 yards. It's not what you're hoping for.
And the thing is, J.K. Dobbins did have that kind of goal, goal line touches. He was the one getting the.
And that was when they were winning by a bunch. He had 10 carries in a blowout win.
Yeah, that's not a good look.
Like, I don't want to say after 1 week you ever want to hit the panic button, but
if this doesn't work out, let's say Mark Ingram II is a dud. Who does he go with the flex? Do you do Mike? I mean, I feel like you have to do Mike Evans, right?
Mike Evans was hurt. So I expected Mike Evans to get the start. They said he didn't practice all week. I think he had 1 catch. He did catch a touchdown in garbage time.
Right.
So with him, when he's healthy, I still think Mike Evans is who you're going to be sticking in your flex a lot of the time.
You sure it's not Marlon Mack? You sure it's not Marlon Mack?
Well, not anymore. So real quick on that, that was another one. I did pick myself to win. You picked Jason.
So I'm 1-2.
Another wrong for you.
You're 2-1.
I'm 2-1.
Well, let's see about this one.
If it makes you feel any better, it doesn't get any better for me.
Yay! Zach versus Alex.
I'm frustrated.
Why?
Because I don't like his team. I hate Zach's team, and he puts up the second most points of the week. I was so low on Josh Jacobs, and he goes out there against probably his best matchup of the year. The Carolina defense is not good. He puts up 34 points as the number 1 running back in fantasy.
The moral of the story is, if you want a running back to blow up in fantasy on week 1, just have us shit talk him in the podcast. David Johnson, Josh Jacobs. We were hammering them in the week 1 podcast.
Yeah.
And then they go out and do this.
And then now we're also going to get into
also
the flip
Robert
side.
Woods too. By the way, you were all.
I don't like his wide receivers, but no, like it was like 3 of the first 4 plays of the game were designed passes directly to Robert Woods. I think in the first drive of the game he had like 8 points. Mm-hmm. It's like I think he finished with just under 15. So the rest of the game he matched what he did in the first drive of the game. So
and you gotta love Josh Allen putting up almost 30. I mean, Josh Allen. Like, granted, it was against the Giants, but
it's against the. Oh no, it was
Jets.
against the Jets. It was against the Jets. He does have that running potential. So like, I'm not as surprised about that. But like Saquon Barkley, I said I would rather have had Zeke just because of how the offenses differ. 15 carries for 6 yards. The thing that saved him was those 6 catches for 60. But
that offensive line
is atrocious.
Is awful. And I know shitty offensive lines. I'm a Miami Dolphins fan. That offensive line was disgusting.
Yeah. I did say, like, I thought the one wide receiver that I liked of Zach's was DK Metcalf. What did DK Metcalf do? He had a good day, 17.5 points.
Well, but here's the thing with Zach. What is he going to do at the flex? Because Devontae Parker was out. I don't know if he's going to be back in time for week 2, but there's an injury concern with Devontae Parker being out for a little while.
I think...
Didn't return to action.
Can't confirm this. Actually, I can confirm it really quickly here. I got my iPad set up. He did start Kareem Hunt in the flex this week.
Okay.
Worked out for him this week, but we'll get into the...
Yeah, no kidding.
We'll get into that in a little bit.
Yeah. So, and for Alex, I mean...
Like, Juju Smith-Schuster, both of us were kind of saying, how did Juju fall as far as he did? And what does he do? He immediately picks up right where you expect him to go with Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah. I mean, not, again,
points.
This is one of those situations, for like I said, for Jason Smith. For Alex, he was what? 1, 2, 3, 4. So he was 6th in total points scored, right?
Alex?
Yeah. He was 6th, and right next to Window, who was 5th. It's, you hope you can squeak out wins in that kind of situation.
Just barely 6th.
Unfortunately, he did.
So, he got a little unlucky. Michael Thomas getting hurt doesn't help. Michael Thomas was...
Le'Veon Bell getting hurt, too.
Was Michael Thomas his first or second pick?
First.
His first pick, 3.2 points. You got to hope he's not out for long. And this is what you just said, Le'Veon Bell. This is... It almost doesn't seem fair at this point.
You can save this meme. This just... My hand warm up right here.
It almost doesn't seem fair. Le'Veon Bell, week 1. He didn't do a ton with his first half production. He had 8 touches, 5.6 points, which isn't terrible.
For those who are new to the podcast, we made a slap bet on Le'Veon Bell finishing as a top 10 running back in fantasy football.
And now he's on the IR for at least 3 weeks.
Yeah, hate to see that happen to a tough competitor. Hey, don't. Here's the good news. After I slap you, you can take it on Alex by slapping him like 3 times.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just gonna get to slap Alex every day for the rest of his life if we keep making bets. Like, yeah, Aaron Rodgers over Gardner Minshew. Packers only need to win 6 more games out of 15.
What an idiot.
What was the last one? Oh, yeah. McCole Hardman over Sammy Watkins. McCole Hardman's whole 1 point he got. It's not looking good for Alex.
Alex, you need to start toughening up your face muscles right now. Just start working on that.
I mean, I really wish that this was like his wedding was pushed back a little bit because I'd like to slap him on his wedding day. But all of these bets aren't going to happen until after that.
So, yeah, I mean, Alex's team, obviously a lot of disappointing, like a lot of injury issues. Bell, Thomas, we talked about.
Yeah.
Just didn't get a lot of performance elsewhere. And even, like, his best performers were what? Kenyon, like, other than Matt Ryan.
13 and a half out of Kenyon Drake. That's...
Yeah. Juju had 21. And TJ Hawkinson had 14. You know.
Matt Ryan did better than I expected.
Yeah.
And I was one of the primary beneficiaries of that with Calvin Ridley.
Yeah.
Getting a couple of garbage time touchdowns, can't complain.
The benefit to Alex, though, is he does have J.K. Dobbins on his bench. Who
14.2 points.
And
can we see his shares there? How many touches did he get in that game?
Only 7.
But
he had two
catches.
touchdowns.
The 2 touchdowns. Like, the goal line work.
Right.
And especially on the Ravens, it's like...
Yeah. That's who the guy you want is the one who's scoring 6 points when they touch the ball.
Yeah.
But the question is, he's a Steelers fan. Does he start? Does he have enough pride or too much pride to start J.K. Dobbins?
I don't think he's going to have that problem. But I will say that is one you did pick Zach's team to win. I picked Alex.
2-2.
Fucking Alex.
So it comes down to this one because we also disagreed on all 5 of them, didn't we?
We did disagree on all 5.
So this is it.
This one's it.
Who had it right? Did I pick James or did you pick James? I don't even remember. I actually don't. I'm not trolling.
I picked Window to win.
Yes! Woo! Week 1 champion.
You picked James.
Thanks, James. High five.
I think Window. I'm a little surprised by the start of Henry Ruggs. George Kittle getting hurt.
Who is Henry Ruggs again?
He's rookie wide receiver out of Alabama.
No, I see the name. I just don't know who he is.
He's a rookie wide receiver
out
of Alabama.
I'm gonna keep making this joke.
I think it's okay. I still like. I don't hate him, like having him in general, but yeah. I will say that one thing that he now has going for him is Noah Fant. I don't know exactly how to pronounce his name. He had a really fucking good day.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, George Kittle getting hurt did not help him. Although, how much did he win? How much did he win by? Like 20 points.
Yeah.
So like, it probably didn't make a huge difference. Chris Carson, I expect regression simply because 2 touchdowns on receiving, like 2 receiving touchdowns here. He had 21.6 points, and over half of his points came off of receiving touchdowns. He had 6 carries.
That's crazy.
He had 12 touches. He had 6 carries in this game.
He had as many carries as he did catches.
Like, do you think that's sustainable for Chris Carson?
But I also think he might get more than 6 carries.
I assume so, but like it almost kind of seems like maybe they want to give the offense to Russell Wilson. Finally. Like, yeah. I don't know. I don't expect him. Obviously, I don't expect him to only get 6 carries. I'm expecting more in that 10 to 15 range, but I don't think the 6 catches with 2 touchdown catches is going to be a sustainable thing. It didn't look great for him there. On Window's side, though, I honestly think he's a little lucky to have scored as many points as he did. Tom Brady gets a garbage time touchdown pass to Mike Evans when the game is decided. He also had a rushing touchdown. He just as easily could have finished with 8 points at his quarterback spot.
Yep. And Tom Brady did not look like... I mean, he looked like last year's Tom Brady in Week 17, not
there were quite
Tom
a
Brady
few long passes that ended up going down as pass interferences. I still feel like we need to figure out some kind of way to help quarterbacks in spots where it's like, no, Tom Brady had, I think it was like 4 separate plays where it would have been like a 40-yard catch if they weren't pass interfered. What do you do there? Like, I mean, when it's 100 yards that you're missing out on.
That sucks.
Because of pass interference. It's like, it's tough. Christian McCaffrey did Christian McCaffrey things. Like, there was no...
Christian McCaffrey did what the number 1 pick you would expect him to do.
Yeah, but like, it's just, I don't understand how a team can go into this game saying, okay, all they can do is hand the ball to Christian McCaffrey. And what did they do? They just fed Christian McCaffrey. And you still give up, what was it, 97 rushing yards, 38 receiving yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns? Like, 26 touches is fucking absurd. Like, I mean, that's gonna be what he gets all fucking year. I know that.
It's the old, you know what's coming and you still can't
stop it. Like, exactly. And so this is part of the reason why I'm not very high on the Raiders is the Carolina Panthers are not going to be good. Like, they're going to be... I would be amazed if they don't end up with a top 5 pick at the end of the year. It was still a 34-30 game. Like, that's... I don't think Josh Jacobs is going to be able to continue to produce like that. At the same side, Christian McCaffrey is just going to keep doing this. Fuck him. Windows should have traded him to me.
Just one more thing really quick about Tom Brady. I'm sure you saw the story about the whole Arians controversy, and do they think that I
think they're making a bigger deal of that than it is.
I would agree, but it is something to. I do think this is a situation where if Tom Brady doesn't perform, Windows got Matt Stafford, he's going to be dealing with probably some pretty inconsistent. I mean, because you saw the Lions game, I'm sure. But for the last touchdown,
but a little bit, yeah.
So, but for the last touchdown, obviously, like Matt Stafford has a 20-point game that it was dropped by the rookie.
Oh yeah. It was like it looked like he caught it and
he just dropped the ball.
Yeah.
But I do think the Windows got some serious quarterback problems, and I also think he just he's got some players on his bench who actually had pretty decent days, but I still just don't like. I look at his lineup and I'm like, I want to vomit.
I don't see Robbie Anderson putting up 22 every week. I don't know. His bench, I don't feel super comfortable about. But I think Tyreek Hill kind of had a pretty mediocre day, all things considered. Only 13 points. Sammy Watkins put up 18. I don't think that's going to continue every single week.
No. Sammy Watkins blows up in week 1 and then never does anything.
George Kittle, I feel like this is probably assuming George Kittle is healthy, this is probably going to be one of his worst weeks of the season.
Yeah, I would agree. And the other thing too is with James's team that I wanted to just mention really quick. He really did get... I mean, whenever you're getting, 4 20-point performances, you're going to have a good time. He even had Darius Slayton on his bench who blew up.
I don't think Darius Slayton's going to be the number one guy, but I will say this,
6 catches, 102 yards, and 2 TDs.
He's still not the number one wide receiver there, and I still don't have a ton of faith in the Giants' offense.
I don't either, but... Because, again, the terrible offensive line that we talked about.
But one thing I will say, though, is James is all of a sudden looking real weak at wide receiver. A.J. Brown... at least out this week, might be out for longer.
Right.
He just traded away CeeDee Lamb, and guess what? Chris Godwin in the concussion protocol, out this week.
Oof.
So he literally trades away a wide receiver and then loses his top 2.
So he's starting Marquise Brown and Darius Slayton, probably.
Exactly. And it's really funny because last night I saw that A.J. Brown has an injury, missed practice, probably out this week. I go in and I pick up Corey Davis off of the waiver wire.
Smart.
And not within a minute of me doing it, James texted me, he's like, "Did you just add Corey Davis?" And I was like, "Well, yeah." He's like, it said he was a free agent. I clicked add and he was gone. And I was like, sucks to suck, bro. Now with Chris Godwin out, maybe we can work out a trade.
No. Just wait until after this week and then do it because I'm playing James this week. And speaking of which, really quick, actually, before we go into the predictions for this coming week, I just want to show the standings just so everyone can see them. Top 5 teams, the winners: Jerry, Zach, James, myself, and Brad in that order. With right now, if the season ended today, the wild card would be Window.
Yeah. Kind of what you expect.
Yeah. I mean, you and me being in the playoffs.
I mean, let me hold on really quick here. So I guess me and you both had Jason in our top 3. Obviously not there right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean... Pretty predictable.
Yeah.
Moving on to week 2 matchups.
So before we jump into the week 2 matchups, there's a couple of things I did want to point out.
All right.
Number 1, so the first trade of the year has been complete.
Yeah, that can happen quick.
It mentioned it just a minute ago.
CeeDee Lamb for
Alex Madison. It gave James his handcuff.
Right.
And it just throws in another mediocre wide receiver for Window to have. So
he's got plenty of company there.
Yeah. One thing I also wanted to talk about is Brad went out there and pulled a window and, gave away 52% of his budget for the season.
Did he really?
He has $480 out of his $1,000 left.
Are you kidding?
So
Why? Wait, hold on.
I thought that I overbid when I put in my bid for Dallas Goedert.
Let me see
I put up $75 for Dallas Goedert. And I thought, that's way too much. I shouldn't even be putting this much. I think Brad won the bid with 35% of his budget.
I'm trying to hold on. I'm sorry. I'm trying to find it. Here it is.
Yeah. So if you do
offers report, I think.
Yeah.
Here it is.
So if we scroll, where are we at? Oh no. So he put in $369 to get Malcolm Brown. So 37% of his budget. for a guy who's probably going to lose that starting job to Cam Akers. But that's irrelevant.
I
said probably going to lose it to Cam Akers. He is the starter right now.
I threw out that was actually my highest bid as well. I was going to throw out 307 for him. So and again,
I put in a bid. What did I put? I think I put 75.
No, you didn't bid on Malcolm Brown. As far as I can tell.
I know that I did. So hold on. Where am I?
I think you're talking about Dallas.
There, $50. I put in 50.
Oh, okay.
And so I also put in 50 for Dallas Goedert. So that's how much. And I thought that was too much. I shouldn't have done that. And where did Dallas Goedert go?
Dallas Goedert went
for 151. I wasn't even close. So Brad had to make a move. He had Blake Jarwin, and we were both already making fun of him for having Blake Jarwin. And then Blake Jarwin goes out and tears his ACL.
Right.
So he needed a tight end. I get that. I wouldn't. I feel like there's trades out there. I don't know if you want to put in 15% of your budget in week one.
Not 50.
And then, but yeah, no, he has $480. So 52% of his budget is gone.
That's nuts.
The next one, I think Alex put out the most, where 21% of his budget is gone.
Well, that was all on Benny Snell Jr.
Which,
that's a homer pick.
It's a homer pick, man. Like I get it. If Connor's hurt, he's. But is it gonna be him? Like, who else is the other? There's a third running back there, right, for Pittsburgh.
What's
It wasn't just Benny. Jalen Samuels also was getting work.
Yeah.
So it's like, who knows who's going to be the guy there? I don't know if I'm putting in 20% of my budget on maybe a starter.
Interesting point. If he had lost out the Malcolm Brown pick, Brad, I'm talking about Brad for a second. If he hadn't gotten Malcolm Brown, he was ready to put $200. $222 on AP. That was the fourth highest bid. $222 to AP, who I got for $106. I don't think anyone else even had a bid on AP. No, wait, hold on.
So wait, hold on.
You had $1 on him.
Yeah, I didn't think anyone was going to pick him up. So hold on a second. So wait, does this work because the person that
it's
Brad,
the highest offer?
So it's the highest offer, but he didn't get him because Brad had already used. So it was going to be Justin Jackson,
right?
But because he bid 2 bids for the same drop, okay.
That's how, so like yeah. So basically, and I do this too. Like I try to add like 3 or 4 people using the same drop player, so that if you get your guy, you don't need to get anyone else.
But it's a little funny though because Brad tried to pick up Corey Davis, but didn't get him because he dropped somebody else already.
Oh.
So.
I guess he didn't want him that bad.
Obviously, because he didn't go pick him up off of free agency after the fact. So, also, ran into this problem today. There was somebody I was trying to pick up, and I'm at the 8 wide receiver limit. Like, can we eliminate this rule? Like, I don't need 5 running backs. I need a 9th wide receiver. Like, that is the conclusion that I've come to.
I think I got to talk about it.
I think just about everybody put in a bid for Malcolm Brown.
Oh yeah.
And like I said, I thought I was going high on 50. You guys are just.
Well, the thing is, you got to remember, it is a $1,000 budget, so you're dealing with percentages here, and it's like
I think 5% in the first week on a player. Okay, if you do that, you only get to do that once a week. Then
what?
Like 5% of your budget. I mean, okay, just over once a week.
But you're not going to win. But again, you're not going to win every claim. I was comfortable putting 300. I thought I overbid on Malcolm Brown, Benny Snell, and AP. Because I wanted to make sure I got one of them.
I'm a little curious how you guys came to the conclusion of 369, 307. Why is it 251? Where are these numbers coming from?
I try to sometimes we'll put a couple extra bucks on it.
Just in case someone does like
300.
Yeah, no, I get that.
It's like when you're on The Price is Right and someone bids 300, 301.
Yeah.
You got a really small window. I hope you got it exactly right, Dick. All right. So on to our predictions.
I know we're a game late, and there were some big performances last night.
Yeah, there were. Talk about it, OBJ.
I mean,
OBJ got pooped on right before the game. He was raring to go.
Jesus Christ, man.
Fuck. Hey, I'm not the one who likes it. He does. I'm not the weirdo. So yeah, James and myself are playing. I am 100% likely to win, apparently, according to this thing, which doesn't seem accurate.
It doesn't seem right.
It doesn't seem right at all.
It says that he's projected 0 for some reason, and you're projected 15.4.
I've obviously won.
I don't understand what's happening with this. This is obviously not.
It's game over.
What it's supposed to be.
No, it's totally game over. But was his box score maybe is better? Let me see. No.
Oh yeah, there we go. Here we go. So it's box score. All right. So projections have me up by 14 right now. Who you got?
I hadn't looked too far into this, actually. I probably should have taken a little bit of time. Should have prepped for this.
We know that I'm more accurate than you.
Speaking of this...
At these predictions.
Let's see here. Wait, was it James or was it Zach who ended up with Chris Thompson?
After the draft?
Yeah, at the end of the draft, because there was like the whole trade situation. I think it was Zach, right?
I think it was Zach. Yeah, it was Zach.
Because so we'll talk about that in a second once we get to his matchup. Obviously, OBJ starting off on a solid note there is helpful. Let me take a look at the matchups here.
Yep.
I still don't know. Like, I know you said Jonathan Taylor was listed as the starter. I still don't know how I feel about him splitting time with Hines.
He is absolutely the starter.
I believe you. I'm just saying, like, I still don't know how I feel about with him splitting the time because Hines got the work last week. So I'm gonna go with you this week. I don't like James's wide receiver situation, especially Godwin out. AJ Brown is out. I mean, I don't have a ton of faith that Darius Slayton is gonna have another monster week.
Also, the Falcons are playing against the football team.
The Falcons?
The Falcons. I'm sorry. The Cardinals are playing against the football
Cardinals.
team. I apologize. How good is their defense?
I don't know. I mean, they looked a lot better than I would have expected. Like I said, this is one of the things I was wrong about. I was like, no, Eagles all day. Give me every Eagle I can possibly fucking get against this team. And Dallas Goedert was the only one. I was wrong. I expected Washington to be way worse.
But you are right that I think my receivers are stronger.
Absolutely. I think they're stronger regardless, and it doesn't help that he's missing his top two.
Yep.
So, I mean, if Dalvin Cook and Chris Carson are going to go out there and put up 25 points each, great. I'm really, really banking on, Baltimore defense just being that legit, and it wasn't just because they were playing Cleveland.
Right.
And so I'm expecting Deshaun Watson not to have the most amazing day in the world. So, yeah, I'm rolling with you this week.
Me too.
That was our first one we've agreed on. It's amazing.
And it's obviously me. The Battle of Jasons. I love when we get these little matchups that are like, oh, the Battle of Jasons.
And Jason McMillan already out to an early lead. Tyler Boyd putting up 16.7. Better than I would have expected. Jarvis Landry only 6.1. Way worse than I would have expected playing against Cincinnati.
I mean, I'm a Tyler Boyd fan this year. I think his upside is good, and I think you got to see what Joe Burrow can do with his wide receivers on that Thursday night game. Jarvis Landry definitely, again, was a victim of game script. Like, they were playing with a lead. Once Odell Beckham got to 15, he had 15 in the first half, and he stopped after that.
Yeah.
So
I expect there to be a little bit of changes in these lineups. I don't think Mark Ingram is going to get the start this week.
No way.
I could be wrong about that, but Mike Evans, if healthy, he played last week. I'm assuming Mike Evans is going to get inserted into the starting lineup. It's a much better matchup against Carolina than it was against the Saints.
Although, just throwing it out there, the Ravens are playing the Texans defense, which gave up 20 to CEH.
Yeah.
Just food for thought.
This is true, but again, but is Mark Ingram gonna be the guy? I don't know. That's like
neither one of them had a lot of carries.
I don't want to hit, like I said, there are probably only. I don't like hitting the panic button after 1 week, but if there are the two people I am the closest to hitting the panic button on are Mark Ingram and James Conner, both in this matchup, both currently starting.
Yeah, who knows?
I don't know. I mean, I think Alvin Kamara's gonna have a big day. I mean, Christian McCaffrey just 26 against the Raiders, and guess what? Alvin Kamara also gets that passing down work.
I mean, I'll say it. McMillan wins this matchup. Like, I more often than not when I'm trying to evaluate a matchup, I go to the studs. Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes, more or less a wash. Jones and Kamara, I go Kamara. Gordon and Connor's a question mark for sure.
Connor's a really big
but
question
I'm
mark
also not like super sold on Melvin Gordon yet. Amari Cooper and Julio Jones. It's Julio Jones. It's not that far off, but it's Julio Jones. Terry McLaurin over 6.1.
Obviously, knowing Jarvis Landry only put up 6.1, it's easier to go with Terry McLaurin there. I'm still not super high on him. How did Terry McLaurin do in week 1? I actually
I think it was like 7 or something like that.
8.6, right. 5 for 61. Okay, so
it's
assuming Mike Evans gets inserted into this starting lineup.
I go McMillan. Don't fuck this up again, McMillan.
I know Houston just gave. How many did Patrick Mahomes have against Houston? It was a good day, 20. Right? 20.44. All right, calm the fuck down, bro. Okay, I'm gonna go against my gut, and I'm gonna say that I think Jason Smith gets the win.
Woo! We have another disagreement.
At a first look, I was thinking McMillan, but like I said, I expect Mark Ingram not to play, and if James Conner has a really bad day, that could put everything sideways.
Yeah.
I'm expecting. Who would have won last week? I think Jason would have just barely gotten the win last week.
Out of the two of them?
Yeah, out of the two of them. Yeah, obviously because he's 8th and he's 9th. So I think
Yeah,
so Jason would have barely gotten the win. I'm expecting a close win for Jason despite the slow start.
Faith in your boy.
I do.
All right. We've got Brad and Burchak going at each other. The high bidders, the money bank.
AJ Green, only 4.4 to start the week is not how you want to start it off.
Disappointing. Joe Mixon also didn't have a great day.
Not a great day, 10.6.
But
it was okay. Again, you expect more. Do you think that Brad wished he had started Joe Burrow last night?
Maybe a little bit.
I mean,
25.
Almost 25 points. Ryan Tannehill against Jacksonville. I don't know what to expect. I expect teams to be awful, and then they come out and they look okay.
Brad, don't listen to him. I'm all for starting Ryan Tannehill.
I don't think Dallas Goedert's going to fucking put up 25 points again like he did last week. DeAndre Hopkins had a good game. Todd Gurley scored a touchdown, had a good game.
This is actually, I think this is going to be the closest matchup of the week.
I think it's going to be close. I don't like having, I just don't like Alex's running backs at all. I don't like Kenyon Drake. Ronald Jones, as time goes on, he's only going to start losing more and more carries to Leonard Fournette.
Probably. And he has Dobbins on the bench. But that's
I don't know why Juju is sitting in his flex right now. I guess it really doesn't matter. I will say that Alex Burchak also missing out on Michael Thomas this week.
That hurts big.
That hurts. I mean, that's his number 1 pick. I guess I am gonna go with. See, here's also part of my thing. Like, Will Fuller had a really good week 1, and I've been saying, like, Will Fuller, when healthy, he is at the bare minimum a wide receiver 2. He has not been healthy in years. He had a good week 1, but he's playing against Baltimore. I didn't like OBJ against Baltimore. I don't know why I'd like Will Fuller against Baltimore. Again, I guess I'm going to go against my gut. I want to pick Brad, but I'm going to go with Alex.
We disagree again. I'm going Brad, and here's why. The guys that I look at that I think are the difference makers in Brad's lineup are Raheem Mostert, who had a big day in week 1.
He's probably going to have another day against the Jets.
Against the Jets. He's playing the Jets.
He also does have the 49ers defense against the Jets this week.
Yeah, against the Jets, who are a raging dumpster fire of a team. And then Nuke Hopkins only developing more. You already picked it.
I'm going Brad.
No. You picked Alex. You picked Alex. This is bullshit.
The more you talk about it,
I talked you into it. You can't do this. What is this shit?
I don't know why. Like I said,
flip-flopper over here.
I literally said my gut said Brad, but I feel like I have to go this way.
The Jeopardy theme ended.
No, I'm going Brad.
Oh,
I'm going Brad.
Pussy.
I'm going Brad. I flip-flopped. I don't care. I'm going Brad. I have no take integrity, I guess, in my 10 seconds that I had to look it over.
You know what? I'm
going with Brad.
I'll take it as a compliment that my argument was that persuasive that it won you over.
No, it was just so I feel like I just got
stuck.
What do you
mean, I was making an argument.
I'm not saying it's not. I'm saying I feel like I got stuck at the top here, and then once you pointed to the bottom, I was like, "That's too good. That's too good." And
even Nuke Hopkins.
I still don't like Will Fuller against Baltimore. But again, when you look at who is across the sheet from him, AJ Green only put up 4.
It would be a closer call had Michael Thomas been in.
Yes. And that was also a part of it. She was like, oh, yeah, Michael Thomas is out. Does not help.
Yeah, because I believe he's on IR, right?
I don't think they put him on the IR.
Oh, no, he's just doubtful.
I think there was the question of should he go on there, and they were like, nah, we're not doing that.
So, high ankle sprain.
Yeah.
And doubtful.
So,
moving on to week 2 match for you and Window.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't feel like I have to spend too much time on it.
I mean, I'm comfortably picking myself.
Yeah, as you should.
I think Austin Eckler is going to have a much better week. Austin Eckler is a top 5 running back receiving wise. Like, he's one of the top 5 receiving running backs in the NFL. He had 1 catch.
I will say this. Different quarterback is one of the factors.
It is, but
like Phillip Rivers. You saw what Phillip Rivers did with Nyheim Hines.
Sure. Right? So here's my main reason why I think Austin Eckler's going to do a lot more. He had 20 touches in this game. 20 touches is a good amount no matter what.
Right.
19 carries, 1 catch. He's one of the best receiving running backs in the NFL. You really think they're going to say, no, we're going to avoid that part of his game? Like, he's going to have more catches.
I get it.
I have to imagine he's going to have more. I like Calvin Ridley against Dallas.
Yeah.
I love Adam Thielen against Indianapolis. Miles Sanders might actually play.
For me,
and Zeke just had a good day against the Rams.
For me, it's not that complicated, right? Like, Window has Christian McCaffrey and Tyreek Hill.
Yeah,
and you have everyone else of note in that matchup. You have Russell Wilson, you have Zeke, you have Eckler, you have Thielen, you have Ridley, you have Sanders, all of whom should get at least 10. Several of them should get at least maybe even 20.
Some things might still get shifted around in my lineup. I'm still not 100% sure if I'm leaving Keenan Allen on the bench.
Right.
I expect him. I don't know.
The only matchup that Window wins in this one is the McCaffrey matchup against anyone
Zeke.
it's close.
It's still close.
It's close, but McCaffrey wins that matchup, and Noah Fant is a win over Gronk in my
I don't know if I'm starting Gronk yet. I might still throw in Logan Thomas in there.
Even then, Font's the better tight end.
Font's the better one, but that's also a question of whether or not Kittle ends up playing, which is why Kittle's currently sitting on the bench.
But aside from that,
yeah,
you really win every matchup, and that's why it's you.
Yeah,
And then that leaves us. So we agree on all but one because you changed yours. So now we're in what is so far the most interesting matchup: Zach and Daryl and Nick. 2.7 points separating them right now, and Kareem projections favoring Zach.
Nick Chubb had a day. So this is another one. I know you said you weren't high on Nick Chubb this year because of the work of Kareem Hunt. Like, obviously, you have to take this week with a grain of salt. It's Cincinnati,
and
they were playing with a lead.
They were playing with a lead.
I don't expect Kareem Hunt to get 2 receiving touchdowns every single week. Nick Chubb had the day you expect out of your number 1 running back. You know,
he had 32 carries.
22.
Sorry, 22.
22. It's a good amount. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's not a crazy amount.
Not a crazy amount.
22 carries, but for 124 yards, averaging 5. Even last week though, he averaged 6 yards a carry.
And
he just only got 10 carries because they were behind.
Go to Hunt for a second, really quick. So I just want to see how many carries total between them they had.
Kareem Hunt had 10 carries last night.
10 carries. So we're talking 32, 32 rushes.
So it was like a 66-33% split.
Yeah, but I'm just saying 32 rushes. How many times are they going to rush the ball 32 times in a game? If they're playing from behind,
obviously,
they're not.
No, Cincinnati was a huge reason that they got as many carries as they did.
This is an interesting match. This is a really good matchup.
It is. I still just don't like Zach's team.
You're going to be saying this all year.
I don't think Saquon. I don't think Saquon Barkley is going to do amazingly better against the Chicago defense. I think Josh Jacobs has a much tougher matchup against New Orleans defense than he did against Carolina. I don't like Devontae Parker against Buffalo. Buffalo's defense is no slouch.
I would imagine he might sub Devontae Parker out, given that I think
maybe, but why isn't he in there now instead of I would rather have DK Metcalf in there right now, but he has Devontae Parker.
Yeah. I'll say this about this matchup: the most fascinating part of it. So it's a lot of big name running backs so that they can put up at least 20. It's kind of the young quarterback talent that, again, has potential to put up 20, 25 in a game. Allen had 28, and Kyler Murray, what did he have in week 1?
I think he had 25.
26.
Yeah.
So this is at the running back and the quarterback positions, I don't see a distinction. What is crazy about this matchup is, and also, by the way, just throwing it out there, tight end, obviously Zach has a huge advantage.
Yeah.
This matchup could very well come down to which Rams wide receiver has the better day in Kupp or Woods. Because that honestly, because whichever one is scoring the touchdowns, it's not going to go to the other one in all likelihood. They're probably both not going to have a 20-point day.
Yeah.
So I
will say David Johnson, I think, is going to really come back down to earth. I don't expect him to have another 20-point day against the Baltimore defense.
Thanks, man. I go with Zach.
You go with Zach?
I go with Zach. Got your back, buddy. Sorry, Daryl and Nick.
So I want to pick Daryl and Nick. I want to. Like I said, don't start David. Like
look how pained his face is now.
Don't start David Johnson against Baltimore.
Look at the anxiety.
Don't start Devontae Parker against. Like I said, I don't know if rosters are set. Who knows? Maybe Zach throws in Chris Thompson because he's going to be so fantasy relevant now that Leonard Fournette's not in Jacksonville. How many touches did he have last week? One? Yeah, we were both kind of wrong on Chris Thompson becoming relevant.
Is Divine Ezigbo still available?
Probably.
I'm sorry. He had 0 carries and 2 catches.
So he had 2 touches. He had twice as many touches as I thought. For a whopping 1.6 points. Hold on a second. So he had 6 yards on 2 catches. And I was like, don't you get half a point for catching the ball? And he had 2 catches? So yeah, 6 yards.
Pretty good day.
Very fantasy relevant.
Who you got?
I guess I'm going to go Zach.
All right.
I'm going to go Zach.
So
I don't want to. I will say that it wouldn't surprise me if Daryl and Nick can pull out a win here.
But you're picking Zach.
But they had the worst first week. I don't like that, and that was with David Johnson having an amazing matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Cooper Kupp is going to do better, but I'm still going to go with Zach.
So the only matchup we disagree on is the Jasons.
Is that the one we disagreed on?
I believe where you have Smith and I have McMillan. Yeah. Other than that, we agree on everything else. Huh. Go figure. All right, guys. Well, that was the Week 2 podcast. I'm going to upload it to YouTube once we finish the stream. So, hope you all enjoyed it. For those of you who were watching the live stream, which apparently was nobody but Tommy because he's the only one who commented in the chat. So, thanks, Dick Bags, for watching our podcast we live stream. Hopefully next time, we'll give you more notice next time.
Yeah, maybe then more notice. I mean, we did kind of say, hey, guys, watch the live stream in 10 minutes. We probably, yeah.
But
maybe we'll also do it at a more opportune time when people aren't still working. We did start this at like 4 in the afternoon. I know some people are definitely still working.
Oh, yeah. But we hope you like the new format. I'm probably going to try to keep it to this format from now on just to see if we can't, keep it to something more relevant. So... or more so that way you guys can interact and see what we're seeing as we go through it. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. See y'all next week.